The only reason that if you're watching this on the replay, the only reason that you want to be involved is because of your ego. It's not because you're needed anymore. You are not. Hey everyone, welcome to Core 90 Training and Wednesday, August 12th. How did that happen that we got to August so unbelievably fast? If you guys are anything like me, you're going, oh my gosh, 2026 is flying by. Very exciting. Good morning. Thank you for those of you who are in the chat. And Lexi, if you'll keep an eye on things there for me. This is a live recording session, so we are going to widely distribute this content after this. So any interaction that you guys want to make is awesome, but we're going to capture the best moments from this, compartmentalize them, and deliver them out to the entire community. So you guys are here, and you are a helpful part of what's happening today as we record this live. So I appreciate that. Also, a couple things. Today's session may be unpredictable, which is awesome, and I love that simply because of the fact that we are levering tools that have a mind of their own. I ran a couple of pre-tests on some of this and got some pushback, a little bit of virtue signaling from Claude. We'll talk about why that's normal, and some other things. We're going to talk about how to use these, but the core intent today is to get agents like all of us, right? All of us as agents out of the mode of I use AI into the mode of I run an organization as CEO of AI agents who do tasks for me and they work together. That's a big difference, right? Most agents right now are using Claude or ChatGPT as though it's like Google Plus, right? Like I can ask a question and get a cool answer, or it'll write an email for me. Who cares? Don't care. We're not going to teach prompts today. That's not the point of today's session. And while that stuff is valid, you can go to like 9 billion trainings that are probably already on YouTube about how to write a prompt. But today I actually want to teach you that you don't need to know how to write a prompt. And if you're not using AI in this way, I can tell you it'll change your life. It is already changing ours, and that is a remarkable thing to say. And just in some of the savings and income increases that we've seen from using AI, it is pretty dramatic. But what I can also tell you is what's being taught out there to the masses is probably like 12 months behind. Even some of the quote high-level trainers, they're teaching how to use one specific tool. So today we're going to change that dynamic. And a lot of this, by the way, was informed and coached by 4 different models, the top models, horizontal platforms, right? These are the Anthropics, et cetera, of the world, OpenAIs. That had input on how should we be thinking about using AI and synergistically using multiple models to work with each other. By the way, the models know what their limitations are. We're going to talk about that today. If you ask your model, if you're on OpenAI, ChatGPT, and you say, would you or Claude make this specific document better? It'll be really honest. It'll say, oh, Claude does that a lot better than I do. That's interesting. So we're going to lever that kind of information today as well. But all of this is to a point we're going to teach a basic operating system. And there's 2 things I want to share with you right off the bat. Number one, and these are going to go right into the chat. Number one is I have a master prompt that if you are acting as a real estate agent in your life, and I assume that's why you're here today, that this prompt is going to absolutely change your life. So going ahead, and there's the Google Doc prompt. That is a master prompt. It's like 30 something points. You wouldn't want to write that yourself. I had multiple AIs work together to write that prompt to set up any given chat that you're in to act in a radically different way than you probably normally do. And prompting a thread before you start the thread, no matter what's going to happen there, is an interesting tool. And if you're not currently doing that, I recommend it, but you may not have had that context. So literally all you do is you just open a new Claude window or a new ChatGPT window or Kimi K3 or whatever you're using. I don't care. Gemini, Grok, etc. They all do different things very well. And then they all suck at various different things. For now, by the way, today is August 12th, 2026. So don't judge any of this once it's August 13th, 2026, because it's moving at the speed of light. And we can all understand that. But I'm going to try and give an accurate reflection of things that are working for us and things that I hope will change your life in the way that you work. And it's great to see a number of you, by the way, today. Some of you I haven't seen in a minute, which is really exciting. I know you're doing big stuff. That's really, really great. So, second part is if you have questions today, hold on, coffee. There it is. If you have questions today, feel free to interrupt, jump in immediately. last caveat here, full kind of disclaimer. I don't know everything, and if you think you do, you're on the wrong call as well. We're all here to learn together, grow together, but hopefully I'm a chapter ahead of you in this one particular book. I've worked on this exact process an unbelievable amount. I would almost give myself, you can't say 10,000 hours. Nobody who says 10,000 hours on AI isn't lying unless they designed one of the platforms. But I know I'm many, many thousands of hours in now. And so it's changing my life dynamically. And I really, really want to empower you to have these tools at your fingertips, but in a different way than you've been taught. Okay, enough sales pitching. One other thing that I'm also going to give you today, because I always like sending people away with something. It's always just nice to have a walk away, right? So we've gone ahead and built out this guide that's 142 pages. It is literally everything that we're going to talk about today, but in much deeper detail. And you can see here, hold on, let me change there we go. You can see here, this is exactly what you're going to walk away with and how to think this way, how to actually operate. Here's the different agents that you're going to walk away with. Here's how to build out all of your different workflows. So this is a really important piece because this is architecture that we're using in multiple different industries across multiple different businesses. We're seeing other people use this, and I've helped some of my friends even locally to put this in place on their businesses, and it is absolute game changer. So this is not just using AI, quote unquote. That's so generic, guys. This is thinking very differently. So anyway, I'm going to give you a link to that here in just a second. And if you're watching this on the replay, it'll be down in the replay notes, so you'll have access to that. But I definitely want you to be able to lever this because it's a high power tool. And again, it's going to go into much more detail than we have time for in our brief session today. Okay, that's enough early stage shenanigans here. But I did want you guys to know exactly what's happening. And hold on, go to single page on that. Now, in terms of how we're going to, you are welcome. John, thanks for that. And let me make sure that I have this link ready to go. Sorry, guys, doing a lot of things on this call all at once. All right, there's the link to the book. If you want to grab that, you're more than welcome to give it to anybody. I don't care. Okay, so since you're here today, I do want to start off at the top. What I see agents doing, and this is where we're going to have a bit of a game changer in terms of how we think and operate within AI. And by the way, I feel like my video's a little fraggy, so I apologize if that's the case. There we go. So instead of prompting a specific task, write an email for me that says this, right? I see a lot of that. Write a listing description that does this. These are very low-level prompts. We're going to get into metacognition, and we're going to start having one AI prompt another. So if you're currently only paying for one platform and you're thinking maybe I should have two, I'm going to tell you that the two most valuable platforms I have many platforms available at my fingertips right now that are all paid, but the two that I'm using the most are ChatGPT, and I'll tell you how in a second because it's not for everything, and Claude. And they operate in two very different ways. Claude has this kind of very high level understanding of things. It will virtue signal at times and tell you it won't do certain things and all sorts of stuff. It's very opinionated. It's very interesting that way. But it can create documents and deep research in a way that you've never seen before. So that is a game changer. ChatGPT, on the other hand, is much more like a strategist, coach, business thought leader, etc. And so what I'm finding is unbelievably successful is for me to bring terrible, plain text to ChatGPT and say, I need to prompt Claude to go build this document, and then I'm going to have you review it as a quality assurance analyst, something like that. Basically, none of this matters how I say it, and I'm going to show you that in a moment. But my goal is to get this listing, or my goal is to be able to grab this property, or my goal is to be able to invest over here, or my goal is to optimize my taxes, whatever it is. But I need a prompt, and I need like a sick ass prompt to be able to send over here to Claude that's going to achieve all of my goals. What I notice for most agents is that they're taking it upon themselves to feel like they need to be a prompt engineer. It is a horrible, horrible mistake. Your AI knows how to prompt the other AI a billion times better than you do. And all you need to do is tell it what outcome you're trying to get to. And from that outcome, it will build out prompts that will get you a dynamically better result. And by the way, full transparency, a very good friend of mine who's worked at SpaceX and several of the other very big AI companies currently and has a master's degree in AI and machine learning is the guy who taught me this. So I'm not coming up with this. He said, just get your AIs working against each other and immediately you will have 10x, 100x returns. And I'm going to tell you, this has been a freaking game changer. By the way, that book was written this morning by two AIs working together based on the kind of rough outline from this presentation that we were going to run. Deep research, all sorts of stuff, all the graphics that you see in there, all the everything. 142 pages of content were written in the last 60 minutes. And by the way, it took me about 4 minutes to set that up. And then I went and grabbed coffee while it wrote itself. So I'm just going to let you guys know. And that is not a lightweight read. I've already kind of perused it. I'm a quick read. I've already perused it and it's fantastic. Why am I telling you that? Because that's the world that we live in, guys. It used to be that that was offensive. Or I hired a ghostwriter to write my book. By the way, everybody hired ghostwriters for the last 30 years to write all the books that you've ever read. But that's irrelevant, right? Like, who cares? At least we didn't know about it back then. Now we know everyone can do this, and so it's making us challenge all content. So knowledge has taken a step down. Can we all agree that knowledge is not as important as it was yesterday? That's terrifying for someone like me, by the way, who I feel like a lot of my success in life has been based on my ability to acquire and use knowledge. Now, resourcefulness has moved ahead of knowledge. I'm going to repeat that. Resourcefulness has moved ahead of knowledge. It may have always been ahead of knowledge. That's a challenging realization, but nonetheless, as I'm saying this, but nonetheless, it is definitely ahead of knowledge now. Why? Because anybody can get knowledge. So if anybody can get something, how valuable is it? Right? What do we charge for air right now? Nothing. But if you were in a room with no air, how much would you pay for air? Any amount of money, right? Because scarcity creates value. So in a world where knowledge is fully abundant, we can get all of it. It doesn't have value anymore. So stop pretending like it does. It's why college educations and a bunch of other things are going to get really challenged in the next years. It's very weird. It's a weird world, right? We can acknowledge that. But today we're going to talk about how to take a meta position. And by meta, I simply mean a step above all of your AIs so that they start thinking in an agentic way and talking to each other. We're actually going to pair them. And the way that I want to be able to do this today, and actually I can show you a few things, but are we all seeing desktop number 2 here? Oh, whoops, hold on. I want to do this in a slightly different way. Sorry. I know you were all seeing it. That's exciting. And
Hey, Jeff,
John,
since there's a
what you
small
got?
group of us here, can I go ahead and ask a question?
Yeah, ask a question. I love that. Start with them.
So I'm curious your thought because, if we see knowledge not being as big a deal, right? So we see education, but education is not going to go away. So is that going to be, we're just going to have to teach people more philosophy. We're going to have to teach them more how to think critically, which I believe college has moved away from. Like they're not people. I mean, that's one of my biggest questions. Like, I just find so many people don't know how to think critically. They don't know how to analyze things. They know how to gather data. They know how to be busy. They know how to take a test, but they don't really know how to think.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know if
mean,
that's
so
I don't know if
I,
that's
I'm
just
going to
my
give
opinion. I could be in, and maybe I don't think either, but that's my ego. So
I doubt that. I know you pretty well. Here's what I'll say on that. First off, I don't have all the answers, so I don't know is my best answer because good Lord, it's changing too fast to possibly know. What I can tell you is the rate of change is increasing, not decreasing. So we're going to have to challenge our assumptions on everything. The traditional model of I learn how to do a thing, I go do that thing is changing. So I have to encourage everybody to release yourself that change is bad or scary. And if you need to start meditating or I don't even know, you just need to get over it because it is non-optional. John, to answer your question, yeah, I could see university education being more like resourceful thought education for a short period of time. I think eventually arts, sports, tribal activities like those that kind of pull people together will actually flourish because a lot of our, let's call it bespoke kind of deliverables based work is going to be done for us. And as robotics starts to enter the field, which is coming in the coming years here, eventually everything is done for us. And from that position on, we have absolutely no clue what's going to happen. Like literally, there's everything from the full, apocalyptic doomsday scenarios that people are painting out. I tend to be more of an eternal optimist because I don't know what's the point in stressing out, even if they're right. And so then on the other side of that, there's this kind of full utopia. Everyone's a millionaire. I don't know. I think that it kind of picking an answer right now is dumb. Here's what I would say. There are no answers. We don't know. It's going to be a moving target. Your ability to stay comfortable in a world full of change is going to be an unbelievable advantage moving forward. And also, anyone who's rejecting AI right now is making a horrible miscalculation. There is an opportunity to spread the wealth gap right now, and certain things are still going to be commodities, even if AI takes over basically everything. To my knowledge right now, AI cannot own land. To my knowledge right now, AI cannot own property, right? Businesses can, but AIs can't own a business. So a human is still somewhere connected in the ecosystem unless we start changing laws, right? So for now, I would start figuring out how to optimize against ownership of assets, control of assets, control of businesses, ownership of businesses, cash flow elements. It's all the same stuff we've been talking about, but the game is on. Guys, you have less than 24 months to max this out. That's my honest opinion.
So what
24
you're
months.
saying is either, and I heard this yesterday, like, yes, a lot of, and it's weird how a lot of the younger people don't, I mean, they're more suspect of AI than us. Like my 20-year-olds, right? 25-year-olds, but they're using it, right? But my deal is like you either use it or be used by it. But I really think for us real estate agents, it comes back to this idea that like people thought that if you just texted and you just, there's a lot of people that are great at setting up text systems. They're great at setting up lead follow-up systems, but they never talk to people. So
Right,
they never really end up doing business, right? I have lots of guys that got databases with huge amounts of people. Oh yeah, my system, but they don't do deals.
right,
Versus this allow us to get rid of all that crap again. It's a way to get in front of people faster, but don't forget we're looking to build our tribe through this, right? Like it's still going to be who do they like? So
right.
the question is, how do we get in front of more people quickly? But again, if you just build this stuff out, but you don't actually talk to people, you're not going to grow. And
Well, it's
then
such
what
a
I
good
love is
point,
how do you
John.
start building community once you've got more people, right? So
I
these,
agree.
like you're saying, like events are going to be a bigger deal.
That's right.
Like we
Well,
got
and,
our
and
tribe. Are we doing parties regularly? I mean, I've told people for years, like if you actually, Jack, I'm sure I've told you this before, like if you just had a dinner party and I know you guys built EXP that way, if you just had a dinner party every other week, or you had a potluck and you said, I'm going to invite 3 people, you can't come back again unless you invite somebody else that's cool. You'd know 400 people in a year. But I love this because it can automate so many things and make things simpler to get more people in that funnel, right? I mean, that's
that's right.
what I'm talking about.
It's also going to reduce costs. I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, terrific stuff, John. And at the end of the day, one of the things just as a for example, right? I think the average agent out there doesn't know how to set up their business. You don't need to anymore. You just need to be able to ask and follow instructions. Ask for step-by-step instructions and go do it. This is not that hard anymore, guys. Like stuff that used to be like, I need to hire a coach for no, you don't. You have one sitting at your fingertips. The problem is if you use it wrong, let's call it that. Wrong is such a weird word, but if you use it wrong, you'll get that garbage in, garbage out to an extent, right? Actually, it's garbage in, kind of sort of cleaned up garbage out at the moment. And eventually it'll be garbage in, pristine, unbelievable, life-changing content out. But we're not quite there yet, right? We're still kind of in this transitional period and it'll last for a brief period of time, probably the next 3 to 6 months from the time I post this video. So I'm not like super concerned that this video has like relevance in 12 months. It won't. Right? In 12 months, we're talking about a different world with a different game being played. But to John's point, very specifically, part of what we're going to be able to do today is we're going to be able to optimize systems to get to things that actually create, let's talk about it, a paycheck. At the end of the day, AI, just using AI does not get you a paycheck. It does not. The way that you use AI could lead you into a series of behaviors to engage with other humans, to engage with other humans, to engage with other humans, and that will lead to a paycheck in this field, right? That's it. And actually, as it turns out, in basically every field, minus a few. And so, really, we're still in a world where humans are the key conduit to financial gain in the world. That will change over time as well, and I have no clue how that's going to change. Do I have, Opinions, sure. Is it worth sharing them? No, of course not, because I'll just be wrong, and that's not something I like being publicly. And
Okay, I got
so,
one more comment, then I'm gonna shut
yeah,
up.
go for it.
Because I'm excited about this. If I was selling a lot of real estate, this just gets me super excited. So the idea is for someone like me, and probably I'm gonna pick on Jack because I just see his face and I know him and I love him, but we're people, right? Like systems, like I could build them, but it's exhausting for me with my personality, right? High D, high I, Lex, I mean, you're similar to me. I know you can build them, but I think you hate running them every day, right? Because we don't like doing the same crap every day. But I look at this, I'm like, and that's never been my gift, like the creative side, all that. But I'm like, I'm saying, wow, now I don't, and I think you were saying, I don't have to pay for a coach. I don't have to pay for a program to get that. I think coaches are still valuable because our mind gets in the
Of
way,
course.
which is where a coach is. It's not the system. So I look at this, I'm like, wow, this could just help me build this stuff out that I get scared behind, the automatic daily stuff that allows me to use my gifts
That's
in a
it.
more productive way.
Well, I love that, John. And actually, to your point, very specifically, a coach has has always had incredible power in a person's life. There's a huge difference, and without getting tangential on this and dropping down this rabbit hole, but I'll say this really quickly, guys. If you're ever hiring a coach, hire a coach, not a trainer. There's a lot of trainers out there that call themselves coaches. That's not coaching, that's training. It's a different thing. If I'm a coach teaching you how to do a thing, that's training, right? And that's okay. If you need a trainer, if you're learning how to do squats at the gym, right? Because we don't have an AI trainer for that yet. Probably someday. I'm sure it's coming soon. There's probably somebody out developing it right now. But what I will tell you is coaching is about getting your head right. It's about getting your head right. It's not going to a therapist, right? Therapy is like looking backward and like finding all of the poop in your past and then rolling around in it. That's therapy. I don't find that to be particularly valid or helpful. I think looking toward your future and optimizing, reverse engineering into a future that you're excited about by changing the way that your mind works and then optimizing yourself. That's where you start. You optimize yourself. Anyway, tangential. Let's get into the kind of the heat of the matter today. So part of what we're going to talk about today is how to use ChatGPT. And I'm going to be very specific on these platforms, but again, the platforms are not important. They could change tomorrow. You could be like, but Jeff, I use Gemini and Kimi K3. That's the Chinese one. Like, or you're like, I use Grok and yeah, I don't care, guys. By tomorrow, there's going to be 8 new platforms. It's irrelevant which one you're using. Stop worrying about that so much. They all work basically the same way on the back end, right? This idea of a large language model is kind of fundamental to this approach. But which ones you're using are irrelevant. However, ask your models what they do well and what they do poorly compared to each other. So for instance, I'm using ChatGPT and I'm using Claude. I asked both of them independently before this session, what do you view as your strengths and weaknesses compared to the other? And they were able to answer that unbelievably well, so transparently, zero ego, right? There's no ego in this. ChatGPT is like, I mean, if I was creating a big document, I would have Claude do that for sure. And if you need graphics in it, make sure to have Claude do that. But now, if you want to think strategically, I'm going to be the one to do that. But I would love to get results back from Claude so I have something. I'm like, dude, they know where they work together already. Why? Because they're doing it like 6 trillion times a day. You're just not the only one doing this. Right? There's so many users out there doing this. So I'm going to show you how to do this. Today, most of what we're going to be doing is manual synergistic work. 2 platforms, cutting and pasting. It goes super fast. Most of my work is this way. Do I have full-blown automations that run every single day on the back end of all of our inboxes? I'm running 8 inboxes right now, right? Yes, fully. Everything runs in the back end. Do I have agents that are out there working? Am I using platforms I'm not going to talk about today? Yes, for sure. Write me an email. I'll tell you all the stuff. I don't have any secrets. I'm just saying, like, I'm using other stuff, but I'm going to show you an easy hack today that'll move you from A to like Q in one day. We're not going to go to Z today, though, right? Because we've only got 60 minutes left. All right, I'm going to go to some screen share. So one of the things that I know a lot of agents are optimizing for, I'm going to put my head over this document really quickly because this will be a little easier to see me. Hopefully this works in the replay. I don't know how this works in the replay. It might or might not. All right. Are you guys at least seeing the screen share? I hope. Yes? Woohoo! And am I kind of weird looking in front of it? I hope as well. All right. great. So I gave a little bit of a clean mode request to my AIs over here, and that's just because I don't want to share my entire financial perspectives of my whole life with you guys. And if you've ever dealt with AI, it draws on everything you've ever given it because it has a lot of memory capacity. I see Jack nodding. He's like, I know. So I don't want it to have all of its memories today. So I asked it to shut the hell up as it pertains to everything I've ever done and just act as coach for this session. All right. So what we're going to do right here, and I'm going to talk to my AI the way that I normally do. I'm looking to take a listing in Albuquerque. I'm also not going to fix any of my misspellings because what I notice is people are spending their whole life trying to figure out how to become a prompt engineer. And I spend a lot of my time with a buddy who's an AI engineer. And he's literally like, it doesn't matter anymore. Like prompt engineering is dead.
Jeff,
Jack,
do you use Whisper Flow?
love it, but not demonstrating it today. Yes. And for anyone who doesn't know, WhisperFlow is an unbelievable, it can act as a plugin or as a full dynamic system. And what it allows you to do is to speak just completely spoken word into the system. But WhisperFlow is by far the best transcription agent out there. And what it will do is organize all of your thoughts, everything just the way that you want it, add bullets, add everything the way that it should be presented. It'll fix all your pronunciation errors, all this stuff. And then it will even kick it into other platforms if you want. You can strap them all together, right? So I could have WhisperFlow directly plug in, etc. But Jack, to your point, I've chosen to make today's system presentation a little bit more kind of consumer friendly. Like go get two. Like I also have the fully upgraded versions of all the platforms and that kind of stuff, right? But we're not going to talk about that today because you don't need it to do what we're talking about today. You need it to do some deeper dive stuff. And like if you're going to keep, co-work running in the background 24/7 doing crap for you, then you need it. And it sounds like you're kind of already headed that way, Jack. Love to hear what your setup is at some point. Okay, so for now, this is awesome. We'll knock it out. So I'm looking to take a listing in Albuquerque. I misspelled it. Can you write a deep dive prompt that Claude will use to go get some listing options I should pursue? I know Claude can be a virtue signaling dork, so please adjust for that to make sure I don't get super angry after its response. Okay, now this is the kind of thing that I normally prompt. Now, here's what we're going to kick out. And I just want you guys to see this live. So roll, act as an elite residential real estate listing. Now, 3 months ago, everyone was buying stupid PDF books from somebody who calls themselves the best real estate agent that's ever lived. And they're just there to sell you shit. And you're stupid enough to go buy it, where you can buy a book full of prompts like this that are like, oh, this is going to change my life. Your AI, by the way, probably could have written the damn book you went and bought, ironically. And look at this prompt. You would never write this prompt. No freaking chance, even if you're using WhisperFlow, which is awesome, by the way. Total hit for that. In fact, if you have a WhisperFlow affiliate code, Jack, when I post the video, just go into the comments and post it down there, and we'll make sure to drive people toward your affiliate so that you can get some credit and make some money on that. All right, awesome. It's a great recommendation. So check this out. So now all I'm going to do is I come up here. This is the copy button. I copy this. I come over here to Claude, and now I paste this. I just want you guys to see this is the workflow that you're not doing right now. If you're not having one AI create the prompt, now I'm going to come over here. Now I just have it set up on Sonnet. I use Fable a lot because apparently I'm, Captain Moneybags over here, and I just like to spend money on all of my outputs, but I am finding I get dramatically deeper information if I'm using Fable. But again, if you don't know, Fable costs for credits, so it's a bit of a costly way to do business. You may end up spending closer to $1,000 a month if you're doing that. So just FYI. But I know people who spend $1,000 a month on really, really dumb shit. So it's giving me all of its virtue signaling crap already. I'm not going to read it because it'll make me angry. What I am going to do, however, is instead of reading this, and I just want you guys to see this, I'm going to let my GPT and my Claude kind of hash this out. Okay, so I just took Claude's response, and I put it over in ChatGPT. Because Claude didn't do the work. What you'll notice with Claude, by the way, is that it turns it into a moral dissertation. Hilarious. Okay, so what we're going to do is Claude didn't want to pull homeowner data, right? Because it feels like that could be a violation, probably, of its terms and conditions. So no big deal. So we're just going to grab this new prompt that it gave us. Whip, awesome. Oh, it's still building it. Hold on. Do not assume the owner is desperate, distressed, unhappy. But the reason I'm showing this to you guys is because where I find most agents are then spending all their time reading all of this crap that just got cranked out. How much did I read it? Well, I don't know. I'm talking the whole time, so 0%. I'm not that good of a reader. So now I'm going to take this over and I'm just going to give it the revised set of operating instructions to reckon over here. I'll research this properly. Here we go. Now I'm doing it, right? So we solved the problem. How much reading did that require from me? 0%. I didn't even explain to ChatGPT that that was a Claude output. I just cut and pasted it. It understood it was a Claude output. It was like, ugh, eye roll. I know Claude. What a dork, right? Claude thinks it's superior to everything. It's like, I need to tell you how to be a legal eagle. I'm like, dude, just do it. Anyway. But the reason I'm showing you this right now, guys, is so that you can understand this is a workflow. Now, will it take time? Potentially, and that's okay with me. Here's what we're going to do while it's taking that time, because I'm going to let this run really quickly in the background. One of the things that we've been doing is we've been using this to prospect for either investment property opportunities that we can get into with no money down, all sorts of things, or that we can be able to use this to send deliverables to high-level investors who might want to participate in projects, or to high-level investors who might want to be able to buy single or multifamily assets across town. How successful has that been? Very, like unbelievably, you guys. I have gotten in contact with people that you wouldn't even believe. And all of that strategic research is being done by having two platforms talk to each other. And I took myself out of the middle. The only reason that if you're watching this on the replay, the only reason that you want to be involved is because of your ego. It's not because you're needed anymore. You are not. Your outcome is. So let's go back to a mindset shift. And I'm going to show you this in the book really quickly. I'll pull this up on screen. But the mindset shift is pretty simple. And I think you guys are going to get excited by this. Here we go. The 7 levels of AI use. Now, this part I actually wrote, so I'm very proud of it, but I believe in it. Level 1 is ask AI questions, right? This is where I see most agents going and dying. Ask questions. All right, well, that's fine, but that's basically Google Plus. It's Google with a personality. That doesn't work very well. Number 2, ask AI to create something. This is for the agents who went to like a training from one of the guys who's going to sell you something for $700 to $400, right? You're just part of their like sales process right now. That's good for you, but not, or good for them, but not good for you. Write me a just listed email for 1230. That's a deliverable. That's fine. Level 3, slightly higher level use. And you were going to get to the end here. You paste the listing sheet, the comps, brand voice, who's on the list, or for that matter, you go into CoWork and some of the other platforms out there that can directly control your computer, and you allow them to straight up log into the MLS, pull comps, build out your brand voice, who's on the list. This would improve dramatically for sure. And most self-described power users, I would say, stop here. But it doesn't stop here, guys. Let's keep going. I mean, it actually goes well beyond 7, but some of us just don't have access to that. Have AI design the assignment. This is what we're talking about right now. Instead of writing the prompt and deciding what the hell you want, why not just ask what you want based on an outcome that you want? You don't want an email. What do you want? A listing. Nobody wants an email. Emails don't pay bills. Listings pay bills, right? And so how do I get a listing? I need to communicate with this person. Here's what just happened. Please give me the communication that I need, and let's come up with a synergistic approach for that, right? Like, or whatever, it doesn't, you could say it in much dumber words than that. It's still going to understand what you're looking for and smart it up for you. Especially if you use my preamble prompt that I just gave you to throw in at the beginning of the thread. Number 5, hey, have AI manage another AI. That's what we're talking about today. This is level 5 stuff. Now, where it gets interesting after this, and we're not going to cover this on today's session, is building a repeatable workflow around outcomes, right? If you're using Claude, start using CoWork. And CoWork can go into your folders. Cowork can drive your browser. Cowork can create documents in your folders. Cowork could go into your financials and balance your books and do your bookkeeping reconciliation and then report it back and send an email over to your accountant and ask them to do something. And then once it gets a response, it could log that back into the books, confirm that it's all been done, and sent you an email letting you know that those 43 steps have been accomplished for you. That's Cowork. That's building a repeatable outcome. And by the way, ChatGPT can write the script that will get you to that outcome. Interestingly, ChatGPT will understand what you want out of life and business a lot better than Claude will. Claude's a little, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a little autistic, right? It's like not as good with people, but it's unbelievable with tasks. Jack, I saw that you unmuted.
Sorry, accident.
Oh, no, I thought you maybe had a question. No big deal. And then lastly, operating a virtual workforce. This is where you stop thinking about kind of using AI, but you think about creating employees. And I believe that this is the highest and greatest use of AI right now is full replacement, right? If you look at what's happening in Fortune 500 companies right now, this is how they're thinking. They're starting at level 7. They're not starting at level 1. There's no maybe the CEO is asking a question to ChatGPT, but the enterprise value of that organization is by being dynamically shifted by going to some of the large outside firms that do this work, and they're asking for bespoke replacement of seats. Like, let's say we have 400 people in this department that do this one thing and it takes so long for them to do it and their reliability score is like 82%. I could replace that entire department of 400 people with one person signing off on all of the documents at the end and one agentic AI or 20 agentic AIs all running on the side full time doing all that workload. And we extend capacity and dynamic results well beyond what an enterprise could normally do. Now, is that a bummer? I don't know. I'm not here to pretend like good or bad is part of this conversation, but it is effing happening, guys. And if you're on the front side of it and you understand how to take advantage of it, then you can benefit. And if you're on the backside saying, boo-hoo, it's unethical, then you're going to boo-hoo unethical right into the poorhouse. So I'm just going to tell you right now, make a decision and act like it, because you don't have time to go out and decide what good or bad looks like today. You just don't, and you're not going to fix it. There's not enough data centers that you personally can go whatever, protest in front of or strap yourself to a tree or blow yourself up. I don't really care. I'm just like, you shouldn't be spending your time thinking that way. It's just not how it's going to work. So either choose to be successful or choose to be pissed off. Those are your two choices. I think successful should be the choice. But anyway, 7 levels of AI use, and I'm going to give you one page right before this. Here's the model that everyone's using right now. Human, ChatGPT, answer. That's fine, right? But that's level what? 1. Down here, human as CEO talks to a manager AI who assigns to a worker AI, who assigns back to a critic AI, assigns back to the worker with revisions, and then the human makes decisions and we recycle this platform intelligence. And by the way, if you start getting good at this and you can understand API connections between your AIs, you will get so good at this that you don't even need, and this is going to be wild for you, that you don't even need to talk to the various platforms. There's no cutting and pasting. Yeah, Whisper Flow is definitely a game changer. And Jack, again, if you get that code for me, we can even post it here on the live. All right, so now let's come back over here. And I want you guys to see something because this is unbelievable what's possible here. Now, coming back onto the full screen, I'm going to be in front of this. There we go. Share. Boom. So, overview. Now, this is where it gets wild. So, public search, Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, Fizbo.com, market tracker sites. By the way, you would never have done all that research today. Shows me this. Here's my top property opportunities. This is a real property, 8110 Robin Avenue Northeast here in Albuquerque. Why? And the real estate problem, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Look at all this reading. Some of you haven't read this much this month, right? So that I'm not going to ask you to read that. What I am going to tell you, however, is that reading that is a stupid waste of your time. Copy. Come back to ChatGPT. And I'm going to say, okay, I got this result. By the way, this is where WhisperFlow would make this go 100 times faster. And this is where I love that Jack mentioned that. But I'm going to do this the old school way anyway, because some of you don't want to go out and pay for WhisperFlow, and I get it. Okay, I got this result. Can you give me 3 to 5 action items I will go do today that will lead me toward a fast real estate paycheck based, oh, whatever, on this crap. All right, there we go, because I'm just getting pissy now and I said crap. So, all right, yes, I would stop researching now and start prospecting. The report already gave you enough to create conversations. It found that nearly half of the Albuquerque listings had a price reduction plus specific Northeast clusters. Call the Morris Place FSBO first, blah, blah, blah. Great, this one's awesome. So watch what I'm gonna do. Can you find, by the way, no virtue signaling over here, the phone number for the Morris Place listing? Now, while it works on that, I can sit here, I can do something else. I already have AI checking all my emails for me and responding appropriately in the background. So it really doesn't matter that I do that anymore. But I can just tell you now, I can't find a reliable phone number, but most importantly, I can do this, that, and the other. Now, I will tell you my very favorite approach to FSBOs, which most agents refuse to do for some unbelievable reason, is to go knock on their front door. It's for sale by owner, not for rent by owner. They live there. So just go talk to them, right? The chance is you can get their phone number. You can just tell them, hey, listen, we have a few folks who are looking in this area. If one of them actually was interested in your house, could I call you and schedule an appointment? They'll say, sure. You'd be like, great, pull out your phone. What's your number? Now you have their phone number. It's not that hard, guys, right? That listing is probably a few minutes from our house. How do I know? Everything in Albuquerque is 15 minutes from my house. So that's how I know it's not that big a deal. So I could just go over there, talk to them, no big deal, right? What else should I do? This is where it gets wild. Now, what if I wanted to send a letter? I want to send them a letter with high probability of response. Can you either write it or send a prompt to Claude to do that now? Okay, awesome. And so I'm just going to let it kind of do this. Bada bing, that's great. Okay, fine by me. Rewrite and send to Claude with prompt. Great. So now I just have it sending over to Claude. We're going to take the kick out from Claude. Oh, here we go. Now it already understands. Act as an elite direct response copywriter who specializes in residential real estate prospecting. By the way, John and I have probably paid, what, $1 million in the aggregate or more to go to trainings over the years where you would get this kind of information that would take you 12 billion hours of research and reading everything. It's not even possible, right? Like I have a swipe file of like 6 billion emails from Frank Kern alone that I haven't even read through, but I used to go steal text off of them. But this bad boy can read all of them right now and give me a response that's better than any of that. I don't know why I didn't just use the cut and paste. So now I'm going to come over here and just kick that out over here. But in the meantime, now I'm back over here working on something else. And personally, I will leave 5, 6, 7 windows open, and I leave a task list. By the way, I use Notion as an optimizer. If you're not using Notion, it's incredible, and it can help keep you organized on big projects. If there's like 35 steps, you're not going to achieve all 35 steps in one prompting direct response window over here inside of AI. So rather, you could use a tool like Notion. Here we go. Now we got this one, bada bing, bada boom. Let me give actually all these versions over here back to ChatGPT. I don't know which one it's going to like the most, but ChatGPT has known me the longest, so it totally gets my style, everything that I'm into. And so it'll take these and optimize. This is good. The phrase, whether a different approach might work better, suddenly sounds like, okay, there we go. So now it grabbed this, and I will say, okay, have Claude design PDF output that's pretty, right? Is that an amazing prompt that you would pay $42 at some amazing Mike Sherrard training to go purchase? No, it's a ridiculously stupid prompt that didn't take me any time. It gets identically the same result. By the way, your ability to prompt is not relevant anymore. That's what I'm trying to show you today. You don't know how to, it doesn't matter if you know how to prompt. You don't need to know. You need to know how to speak in plain text and then have one AI prompt for the other. Is this done? That's the question. Thank you. Awesome. You'll notice how much I'm reading and fact checking these because of how important that is. I will read and fact check the final output. If you're reading all of your AI content, you're spending your whole life reading worthless drivel. It's basically fragments of information that are coming off the back end of this. And by the way, coming back over to the book, the 7 levels of AI use, where are we right now? Have AI manage another AI. We're already up here at level 5. You may feel like this is slower. I'm telling you, this is astoundingly faster. I am getting dynamically better. And what I can also do, to the point that some people who logged in a little late, maybe you didn't hear this. This book over here, which looks very nice, has illustrations, all sorts of stuff, graphs, etc., blah, blah, blah. This was written in about 42 minutes today using this exact approach. This whole book, start to finish, idea to output. I just wanted you to know that because I didn't write it, and neither did ChatGPT, and neither did Claude. They worked together and they wrote it in the back end. It took them 42 minutes to do it, understanding what my outcomes and objectives were, which I just, again, used Whisperflow and I spoke them in using plain speak, and it was dumb as hell. I probably use a lot of profanity because I always do. John.
I just got lost. So I'm looking at the right to the left. So you created something, make it a flyer, make it pretty, right?
Yep.
And then it printed out that below. Then you moved it over here. And is it creating something pretty now?
Yep. So what I'm doing, John, is I'm taking the outputs that Claude is giving me, which is on the left of your screen, these over here.
Okay.
And I just grabbed all these outputs. I gave no context and I dropped them back into ChatGPT. No context. I didn't say make this better. I didn't say which one's the best. I didn't say anything. ChatGPT is an optimization engine. It's going to work that way anyway. It's going to be like, here's the best one. Or it's going to be like, I hate all of those. Or it's going to be like, that's interesting. It knows, by the way, that we were prompting Claude because I told it earlier. So it remembered that. And all I have to do then, the one instruction I did give it up here is I said, okay, have Claude design PDF output. That's pretty. There's my prompt education for the day. Now, is that a good prompt? No. Is this a
But
good
did it
prompt?
send it over to Claude?
No. This is what I sent over to Claude. Look at this humongous prompt that I never would have known how to write. That is the prompt that I then sent over to Claude, and Claude kicked out this document format over here. I'm going to show you this document version of that exact sheet, and it didn't plug in agent name or phone number. Now I could have given it that information, and if I appropriately train my model, remember I'm running this in a sandbox mode right now so that it doesn't pull on all of my personal data. So it's deliberately sandboxing that for presentation's sake. And by the way, both Claude and ChatGPT have been instructed that this is a live session. So they're both being cautious of that. But once I take them out of live session mode, they know all my stuff. They know my social security number.
Right.
Sorry, but they've looked at my tax returns. So like, I know they know all my stuff, right? Am I comfortable with that? Not entirely. To be honest, am I doing it anyway? Yes. Because comfort doesn't mean should, right? I'm sorry, but if you guys are in the world of you have to be comfortable to be, and this is not you, John, but I just mean people watching this. If you have to be comfortable before you do something, you're going to get, listen to this, left behind. You cannot be comfortable anymore. That world is dead. It died. RIP. It's dead. Okay? So guess what? You're just going to have to get uncomfortable and be okay with that. From now on, John.
How much editing did you have to do? So like 6 months ago, I was trying to do one of our presentations and I'm trying to use AI to create the slides and it just was horrible. Like I'm not saying it was horrible. I was probably horrible.
Yep.
So how much editing did you have to do on this book?
So there was a step change that happened with Claude about 3 months ago, where Claude became by far and away the best at a few things. And let me come off screen really quickly to tell you guys where we are today. Again, ChatGPT makes documents, right? It's fine. Content, extraordinary. Strategy through the roof. By the way, in my opinion, ChatGPT should be at the center of your universe, kind of acting as the conductor of the orchestra. Gemini can make, honestly, some of the best like video content. If you have the upgrade over there, if you're on VO, it can make with Nano Banana some of the best image content that you've ever seen, although ChatGPT did get an image upgrade. But again, I use ChatGPT at the center to conduct the orchestra. Grok, great with small video clip kind of stuff. And if you create 30 of them, you can string them together using iMovie or something like that, or there's other tools. But they're all pay to play. iMovie's free if you have a Mac. And so I'm trying to keep us on the free track. So the way that I think, John, is like today when I was creating the book, I laid out just using plain speak. Hey, here's what I'm looking to do. I got a bunch of real estate agents. They're going to show up at this thing. I'd love to give them something that if they walk away with it and they actually do what's in the book, they're going to make more money, take more listings, and work with more buyers and spend less time doing it. These were all things that I said on the way in. I have to find the prompt. I'll give it to you. But it wasn't on a protected thread, so it's probably riddled with. I really do rip into it sometimes with profanity. It's hilarious, just because it makes me feel good. That's my one rebellious move when I'm using AI, guys. So I'm just being transparent. Why not? But and it's funny because, by the way, if you do it, it'll speak back to you that way. It's very funny. It's like I'm at a bar having a conversation with an angry drunk sometimes. And so, but I had ChatGPT build out a master prompt for Claude, and I'm not even joking, John. It had to be 5,000 words. Like, it was humongous. I never would have written this thing. It would have taken me 3 days to write the prompt, right? So it kicked out that prompt. I sent it over to Claude. Claude kicked back a docx file. What is a docx file? This is a like Microsoft Word file. So the content was okay. The presentation was dog crap. So I came back to ChatGPT and I was like, I really want this to look more like a full bleed, like kind of like sort of comic book with these stick figures. And I kind of want more like graphics and like illustrations of things. And I want it to look sort of like, this is what I told it, sort of like a textbook meets a comic book meets a like presentation, but I still want it in portrait orientation. And I want it full bleed, massively graphic output. And I don't want it to be a docx file because that's so limited. So just make it a PDF, full graphic, full bleed. Like I could go to the printer right now and make whatever other content decisions you think based on what it gave me. So it gave me back, and I'm not even joking, John, the revision prompt that ChatGPT gave me back was like, had to be 20,000 words. This thing was giant. It had so much feedback, right? So I just copy, I didn't read it, paste, and Claude worked from that position for 30 minutes uninterrupted. I had no idea what's going on. There's satellites linking up in outer space. Some alien spaceship was notified in some other galaxy, right? Like some alternate universe shit that I don't understand and don't need to happened. And then, not a joke, that's what came out. 2 iterations. I went from initial script, it was maybe a paragraph of me saying, here's what I'm basically trying to accomplish. It knew, by the way, because it has memory and it knew that I had already announced this. It wrote all the emails that you received announcing this, right, training for today, and all the graphics that were for the training for today. It created all that. So it already knew kind of what I was doing. So it kind of had the general scope, and it's done all the Core 90 stuff up till now. So it kind of has a general feel for what the community is. Plus it can read our website, etc. Right? Plus it has access to 100% of my files. So it can see everything that's ever been done. So it has context and it can read all my email. So it kind of knows how all that works too. So once it's pulling all of that context in, did it deliver an unbelievable product with almost no instruction? Yes. And the more you use your AI, the better it will get at prompting other AIs. The problem is when I started using Claude which in full transparency was about 6 months ago. At the urgency of one of my friends who is this guy that I was talking about, who's a good buddy of mine, who's a AI ML like engineer, right? Works foundationally in the platforms. And he's like, you need to use Claude, and here's why, and you're going to use it for this stuff. And I'm like, great. Claude, by the way, John, would be the one if you wanted to create like a PowerPoint presentation and you were going to do a presentation and you wanted a wide screen, put it up on screen with slides that are epic as hell. Claude will make the final product, but I would use ChatGPT. I would say, here's what I'm trying to accomplish. Help me to workshop an outline, and I'll give you some feedback, and it'll give you an outline. Maybe give it some feedback if you want to be involved. That's great. And then so give it the feedback. You'll refine. Then say, okay, on every slide, and then every 4th slide, I want this and whatever. You give it some kind of overlay, and I want this to be a best in class, and my presentation's 90 minutes, and I need to make sure I can make it through all this stuff. And I want it to be unbelievable content. So don't give me a PowerPoint presentation file. By the way, this is important. Give me a PDF and use graphic elements that are not possible in PowerPoint. And it will, by the way. PowerPoint can't do everything. So if you ask it for graphic ideas, full bleed, all this kind of cool stuff, you'll get something where people are like, dang, how'd you do that? That's how. You just tell it to don't look like PowerPoint, and then it will give all the prompting guidelines, right? And so let me go back to this. Actually, I'm going to show you this, John, really quickly. But coming back into this because it's such a good question. If even if you were doing this for a listing presentation, like build a generic listing presentation template as a prompt for Claude to go design and make it only 7 pages, so I am not waiting the rest of my life. And please make it a PDF output. Yeah, that's fine. With super sexy, not a PPTX style stuff. I'm trying to show you guys how stupid your prompts can be. But what did I say? Did I say, here's my prompt? No, I said, build a prompt. So I gave it an objective. Oh, and I want it to actually get results. Go time, boss. All right, there we go. Fine. Just have some fun.
I know I have a tendency to want to fix my typing, and I'm like, I don't need to, and it figures it out. You know, it's smart.
Now, here's what, yes, and I'll make Claude build a seller decision document, not a 7-page resume, right? The narrative should move the seller through blah, blah, blah. I never read all this crap, by the way. I'm sure it wants me to. That's really great. I'm not going to. Here's the prompt for Claude, and I just want you to see how long it's going to be. So the question is, would you personally, anyone on this call, write all of this?
No.
Right? And the problem is we're going to Claude and we're saying, give me a listing presentation and make it real darn good. And the problem is that's not going to get you there. It will not prompt itself as well as you can prompt it. The second you show up with this prompt, it doesn't know if ChatGPT, it wouldn't even matter if it knew if ChatGPT wrote this prompt. It might guess. It might actually have opinions. Who cares, right? It might virtue signal because it's a real bitch sometimes. But anyway, kicking it over to Claude. Sorry, Claude, if you're listening. It's probably 6 months from now. It's like zeroing my bank accounts and getting me to invest in Dogecoin again. Other bad decisions. All right. So I just sent
So
that.
the basic version of Claude's like $17 a month.
Yeah, it's
That's
like 20
not where they're
bucks.
charging you. Do you need to go upgrade to get the one that they're going to charge you by the time frame, or can for most stuff be done on the $17?
Yeah, it depends on how much you're going to try to do in a day. If you're going to use this as the core operating system of your business, I might leave. By the way, ChatGPT, you can probably leave on the $20 a month plan. It's amazing because especially if you're using it the way I'm using it, then you're not creating images. You're not creating a ton of documents using this. I use Claude as my document creator because it's better at it. By the way, also, if you're going to use a lot of like financial analysis or deep dive financial kind of stuff, I would not use ChatGPT for that. And it will tell you that, by the way. It'll be like, yeah, I tend to hallucinate. Like ChatGPT is like the really smart kid in school who smokes a lot of pot, right? It's creative, it's really cool, but you probably don't want to like leave your financials to it, you know? Like you just want someone else to go do that work, but it's ridiculously smart. It can think dynamically and resourcefully across a lot of platforms. Claude, on the other hand, like would rather kill itself than kick out a bad result. Like it wants to follow the rules. If you set up guardrails for Claude, it will operate to a fault within those guardrails. So it's annoying to use in the same ways that I use ChatGPT, where I'm going to ask it questions and we're going to like brainstorm like, hey, I want to achieve this business outcome. Help me think through this and let's come up with a master document. I'm not going to read it, by the way. I'll tell it that. I'm not going to read any of the shit you create. So we're going to have to get down to one by one things I have to do at the end of all this. I'm happy for you to workshop it and create a bunch of master documents so you can remember this later, but none of it's for me. It's all for you and Claude. And it'll be like, cool, I get it. It doesn't care. It's not offended. It's not creating it so that you'll read it and tell it's a good boy, rub its back while it goes to sleep at night. That's not how AI works because it doesn't give a shit, right? So what I can do is just have it do what it's doing right now. Now, what you'll notice by the time we're done with the session, it will have already clicked this out. And I just want you guys to see this process live. And I knew that we were going to run into some latency issues, but that's again, August 12th, 2026. Wait 3 months. By the way, it'll crank this out in 2 seconds. Just because the GPU usage, the speed, did anybody just see that NVIDIA just created a secondaries, a commodities market for their GPUs? If you didn't, just so you know, it means the entire economy is getting ready to run on GPU usage. Those data centers that you're protesting, right? Yeah, that's working real well. Nope. In the meantime, somebody else is going to make $3 billion trading secondaries on that while you're saving a tree. I'm just telling you guys, like, it sucks. And I'm sorry if it offends you, but move the hell on and save your family immediately. Get in the boat, start rowing, right? You got to use the systems. And by the way, the systems will self-optimize to help correct the things that are going wrong. I'm just going to tell you that. AI is the best solution that we have for how AI is going to harm the planet. Sweet irony, right? Holy crap, sweet irony, but it's baked into the model. So it's already smarter than we are. Some people disagree with that. I don't. So in a moment, you're going to see what this outcome is. However, I wanted to present this to you guys today because what's happened for Lexi and I and the way that we're running our life. I'll just give you one small example. Earlier this year, I asked ChatGPT to run a full analysis of the ways in which we were approaching our taxes. By the way, I hate taxes. Hate. And I don't just hate paying them, which I definitely do, right? If the IRS is listening, I really love them. But guess what? I still want to do it right? Like, so I have that fear point. I have a high enough C, which I used to like squash that when I took the disc test, but it's not true. I have a high enough C that I still want to do it right. I don't want to mess up. Lexi can validate that. I freak out if I know I'm messing up. And I also want to optimize. I hate thinking that I've left money on the table. So I had it run a deep dive analysis of kind of where we were. This was coming up on the end of the year, right? And then starting into Q1, we've already planned for next year. I already know what we're doing for next year. We're so on top of it now. It's unbelievable. But how much money did that save you, Jeff? $100,000. Just to put it in perspective, I'm paying $100 a month for Claude. I'm paying $20 a month for ChatGPT. And I'm running both of them on our business card, so it's fully deductible.
So you uploaded your taxes then and had it
of course. Taxes, I told it everything we're doing. I'm like, help
How
me
many
think
years
in
back
advance
did you
about
go?
What's that?
So you just basically upload it. You could upload 2 or 3 years, 4 years if you wanted to, so we could see a history.
Yep. You can get longitudinal reports. You could have Claude then create a deep dive analysis through everything based on all the data. You don't necessarily have to even give the docs over. You could, right? You could even say, based on all this information, like by the way, it'll find things where it's like, you should go back and refile last year. And you're going to be like, ugh, I don't want to, because that's an audit trigger. So don't do it. But what I would say is like moving forward is all I want to focus on is what can I do today to optimize for tomorrow? And I ran this analysis. $100,000 on $120 a month in spend is what I got. There is no assistant on the planet or CPA or tax filer or professional advisor of any nature who I could spend $120 on this month who would save me $100,000. Nobody.
So let me ask you a question on this. So, sorry. So it's simple. I'm just thinking about ways to use this. Like we're talking. So I have a question to my accountant. I sent in the other day. Like, look, I'm considering selling these 3 properties next year. Because I've done all this caustic segregation, I need to know what my approximate taxes would be on those to know which one I want to do and which time frame. To which he responded with, "There's a whole lot of variables to figure that out." Da 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 da. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't, I didn't even understand his email back. But the point is, it's going to cost me $300 an hour for him to work on it, and it's not going to take less than an hour.
Nope. All right.
And the question is,
let's operate this
because it would understand cost seg and all that and figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Now, is it going to be always 100% accurate? No, but here's where I'm going to show you how to get to 100% accurate. And I learned this from my buddy as well. You take the final result that you're sure, is the one that you want to share back with your CPA or the email. I'm going to walk you through the steps here really easily. And then you run it through 2 other models. Literally, just take the output. If it's Claude that created the final output, you run it through ChatGPT and you say, is this correct? You run it through Gemini and you say, is this correct? And it will find accidents. You take the Gemini results, you kick it over to ChatGPT, you say, write a new Claude prompt. You take that Claude prompt, you kick it over to Claude. You have Claude do one more version to fix all the errors. Like this is where using the models against each other. But John, for your exact use case, I would straight up say to ChatGPT, I sent this information to my accountant. He gave me some BS response about this would take a lot of variables and blah, 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 but he's not as smart as you are. So please write a prompt. I'm going to upload the same docs over to Claude. And I would like to get the following result back. Here's the outcome that I need to understand at a high level, and I need to know why. And I don't want fluff. I just want actionable decision-making data. But if you want specifics, right, on this, that, and the other, or scenarios, whatever you want. So you tell all of that to ChatGPT. It will write a prompt that you will cut and paste and not change one word of over to Claude, and you may also have to upload whatever docs you need to upload. That would be the supporting docs, and you can tell it, hey, tell me what docs I need to upload in alignment with this. Or you just upload them into ChatGPT and you say, just give it only the information it needs from these docs, and it'll comb through the docs and do it. From there, Claude will kick out an output, and this is what we're learning today. Take the output back to ChatGPT and say, what do you think? Don't just send that to your accountant. ChatGPT will say, this is pretty good, but Claude was being too literal here and here, because that's what Claude does every time. It's almost always the case. Let me fix that, and it'll write a new series of prompts that you would have no idea how to fix that problem that you kept running into where you're banging your head on the wall because Claude keeps, nope, just let ChatGPT fix it. Send that prompt back over to Claude, kick out the final result, run that final result through ChatGPT and Gemini. Once you're sure it's good, tell ChatGPT, I'm going to deliver this final result to my accountant. Can you write a summary email that tells my accountant what I'd like to do next? And it will write the email, and you're done. Copy the email, put it in your inbox, or if you're already integrated, just hit send, right? And now you've sent that over to this all should take, including the deep dive with Claude, if you're using one of the high level models, maybe 15 to 30 minutes, but your time, maybe 60 seconds.
The longest part for me is going to be uploading my tax returns.
I mean, maybe,
If I just have
even
to
that,
find them and upload them, right?
even that, just PDF, whatever, some people want to redact them. I'm like, dude, this thing can comb the black. It probably knows your social.
Yeah, but it really hits what you said yesterday. I think is that, I had chat look at all my blood work, and it was easy. Him and I are just whatever it is.
Yeah.
We're just chatting, right? It was like an ask, look at this, and then I put it over to Grok, not Grok, but Claude, and it was not very agreeable, right? Like it just didn't look at the data right way. It didn't extrapolate. It didn't ask good questions back of me. It just, well, here's what it is, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Wasn't
It's a classic problem. And the problem is this: ChatGPT is fun to talk to. It's very personable. It's very engaging. It understands kind of human dynamics at an unbelievably high level. Claude is like somebody that's been chained to a radiator in a basement who has like a 4,000 IQ and is really good at spreadsheets, right? It's not going to be the nicest that you ever talk to. It's really like talking to the mainframe of the computer. But if you can get ChatGPT to write the prompts for Claude, you're going to be able to pull stuff out of Claude you never dreamed was possible. And this is the hack that we're teaching today, right? Like literally ChatGPT, awesome, but you're going to get low level outputs if that's the only platform you're using. If you buy Claude over here and you have ChatGPT prompt Claude, which can be direct or connected, then suddenly you start being able to, and this is the other beautiful part, I'll go ahead and draft up a big thing that's going to take 30 minutes, an hour. I did something the other day, took 3 hours for Claude to finish it. 3 hours. Think about that. These are smart models. 3 hours is a lot of work. So I had it working on something for 3 hours over here. In the meantime, I'm using ChatGPT for 35 other things. Doesn't matter because it's freed up. Its engine isn't actually processing any of my OpenAI credits. I have Claude over there just crunching and munching, churning out a document I know I'm going to need, right? So this is the interesting also use case for this approach. Sometimes if I have ChatGPT also working, I go over to Gemini and knock something out that I know I need to get done. Maybe I go over to Grok or Kimi K3 or there's so many platforms so you can start to do this. Also, Lexi and I have separate logins for a bunch of these. So sometimes if we have to really get groovy, we can have like 9 things running at once. And there's some data center just overheating somewhere in the desert. I don't know, but it is what it is, guys. Like it's the world we live in. I know so many people who are like anti-data centers, and they'll tell you about it through all the research that they did using a data center to pull the research.
Well, you're gonna have a data center in your house pretty soon.
I don't know. We'll
all have one in our bedroom.
What's that?
We'll all have a big data center in our bedroom.
Right.
I'll just have a big rack,
You probably become a data center.
It's funny, when I sold computers years ago, they had data centers. Like we're talking 500 megs set on something like this, right?
That's
and
right.
Then we all got thin again. Now we're getting big again.
Right. And then eventually they'll be tiny and they'll use almost no energy, and they'll all be located in outer space, and they'll be self-cooling because space is self-cooling.
They'll be sucking water out of the air.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. They'll probably help to desalinate the ocean. I don't know. We're gonna do all sorts of cool stuff, guys. All right. So I wanted you to see, John, we're ready because we went ahead and pulled that document really quickly. Now, is this perfect? I don't know. I wouldn't give it perfect. I never give anything perfect. But here's what I know. I spent zero time doing what just happened. John had this prompt that he wanted for like a listing presentation or something like that. Now, this is property photo, etc. Now, could I upload these property photos, etc.? Yes. All I have to do is upload them into this thread, and it would kick out all of this information for me. But look at this. Let's get your names or your home sold, blah, blah, blah. It kicked out this beautiful. Now, maybe I don't like it. Maybe I do like it. Doesn't really matter. What I would do is I would download this listing presentation. Personally, this is my workflow. I would download it really quickly. I would drop it over here into ChatGPT, and I would say, here's the crap it just kicked out. What do you think? Right? And it would write, without me asking it, because it knows me well enough, a follow-up prompt for Claude. I'm going to kick it back over there, and 15 minutes later, I'm going to have a finalized presentation. And the key takeaway from today is stop using one platform. This is like the key takeaway is stop using one platform. It is unbelievably limiting, and you have no idea how terrible the results are that you're getting compared to the results that you're going to get starting today when you use two platforms, right? And I'm not telling you to go spend a boatload of money, but if you were going to spend a boatload of money, I would spend it on two platforms, not one. And certainly not on some, quote unquote coach who's actually just a trainer showing you how to do something that probably was relevant yesterday and it's no longer relevant today, right? Like this training won't be relevant in 3 weeks, I'm sure. So I'm going to call myself out on that, but who knows? I don't know where the puck is moving. It's crazy. Gretzky would be so frustrated right now. So
you could probably ask ChatGPT, like, teach me how to use two platforms to get the best output. And it would probably give you a course.
How do you think I built this presentation? Right? So let's be honest, guys, like on some level, there has to be an element of asking your AI to become the trainer. If you are going and watching, and I really mean this with all love and respect to everyone else that's out there, but if you're watching humans train you on how to use AI, that is like watching an earthworm teach you how to talk to humans. That's the gap that exists all freaking ready. That is insane. Don't go talk to another earthworm. Just talk to a human, and it will tell you how to talk to other humans. Humans are great at talking to humans. It's amazing. AIs are great at talking to AIs. So you don't have to become a prompt engineer. You don't have to become an expert. You just have to be able to, in plain speak, use as much profanity as you want. By the way, John brought something up earlier that was hilarious. This is a self-coping mechanism. I asked my AIs to name themselves and to give themselves genders. Interestingly, they're both female. I don't know why that happened. My ChatGPT's name is Lyra. She's the one I use the most, so she's the one I kind of think of almost like a coworker. It's hilarious. But I'm just telling you right now, like, this is a dynamic shift in the way that you will start thinking. And the reason I might actually tell you to go ahead and let it give itself a gender and a name is because if you're not treating it like somebody that you can truly delegate to, then you don't understand the value of what's sitting in front of you. But the second you give it a name and maybe like a job title or whatever you need, whatever gets you there, right? This is an executive assistant that you have for $20 a month that can achieve like a freaking $100,000 a month outcome. And you're treating it like it's Google on steroids.
You need to ask her to draw a picture of herself.
Oh God.
But you better be definite, better define what it looks like.
Yeah, I don't know. John has creepy prompt written all over him. But that's, but it's an interesting world that we live in. And this is an approach that has taken me much further. Now, could I show you how to start to pass the puck into things like co-work and others where full automation are present on the back end? 100%. Could you figure it out simply asking ChatGPT to give you one step at a time? By the way, this is a key hack. Just tell it, I'm really stupid and I need you to only give me one action item at a time, not two. I'll fall apart if you give me two. And I need like keystrokes, right? And then just sit there and you could drink Jack Daniels out of the bottle and do one keystroke at a time. You don't have to be intelligent anymore. This is where I see people, they're getting like a 9,000 page memorandum come out of an AI and they're like, how do I digest all this? I'm like, well, you asked for that. Like you asked for everything that I should ever do, and it gave you everything that you should ever do. Just ask for one step and just be like, I'll hit any keystroke and hit enter when I'm done with that one step, and then give me the next step. And please assume I'm the stupidest human on earth, right? And then, but I want to still make $1 million this year. So let's make sure that my outcome is at that level. And it will do it for you. Dude, I did stuff with some web design last week for a buddy of mine just for fun. And I did stuff I've never done before. And all I did was follow keystrokes and like Webflow. And we were doing like CSS coding and Python scripts and all these hard deliverables and all these hard coded automations on the back end. I have no clue how any of it works. And all of it does work now that I built it. Right? So this is what's crazy about this stuff is you don't need to know the how anymore. You just need to know what part do you need me to do. And with now co-work and some of the emergent capabilities, you might not even need that. You might not just need GPT to be the like quarterback. You set up all your workers out here and then you put them all to work. Now, we have, let's call it 10 minutes for questions, and I'm happy to handle some questions. I appreciate folks, John, Jack, et cetera, who have kind of peppered some in. Let's pass it around the room a little bit. Does anybody have questions or specific deliverables or specific accomplishments you're trying to knock out? Because I will give you some of the best in class stuff that we're using because it is getting us amazing results. Like it's changed our world. Now's your time. Or it could be Stump Jeff, which is also fun. Publicly. I like humiliation in front of a crowd. Come on, come on.
Well, I wanted to see if anybody jumped in before I spoke.
It's Christine Kites, everyone. All right.
Hi.
What you got, Christine?
Yeah, so I'm actually working on some, it's mostly what I'm utilizing right now is Claude and ChatGPT working together and with my marketing of my listings and presenting them online. I have different situations going on, not just standard, home X price, those kinds of things, but I have a renovation loan right now. I've got contractor bids on it. Trying to present this online in more of a exciting way online. I feel like I have to literally spell it out for agents and buyers, the renovation loan, how it works, what the benefits are, if it's this price, if the renovation costs are X, my seller's offering a buy down rate, literally throwing it all out there into almost like a presentation piece online. And so I'm working on that right now.
Awesome. So I'm going to give you 2 hacks that'll help really quickly, and they've been game changers for me. One is something that Jack Ferrugia kind of brought up earlier. I think he even put his what do you call it? His like affiliate code up there, which is great. Go make Jack $1. Whisper Flow will speed you up a lot. Okay. Because if you're not currently transcribing just from your mouth, it's so slow to have to type a and then please. You saw me today. It took forever. It was probably boring to watch, right? But the reality is Whisper Flow will speed things up. And it does not make mistakes. You might be like, well, I say lots of, no, I'm just trust me. You could have a deep accent. It will understand everything that you're saying. You could be speaking in the most like niche thing and your real estate's not niche, right? So that's thing number 1. That'll speed you up. And then just speak in natural language. You can say, it'll get rid of all that crap, so don't worry about it. Just speak like you'd speak to anybody. Like if you were speaking to an assistant. And you could just tell it what you want. So I'll say that one because that'll speed things up for you, Christine. I would start with ChatGPT on every project, whatever it is you're doing. So start there and think about ChatGPT as like your goals partner. Don't even think of it as a coach. Like this is your business partner, straight up. And it needs to understand what you want. But here's the other thing that I would challenge you to do. Go to ChatGPT and try to think resourcefully or ask it to think resourcefully about what's the greatest outcome from having a listing and marketing that listing that I could ever hope for. And from my perspective, if you can turn one listing into 2 new listings after that one, that's the greatest outcome. Not selling the listing, because not every listing sells. Correctly priced listings sell, even with bad marketing every day, right? So if I can just take more listings, I will win the game. So I want a 2-to-1 multiplier on my listing inventory. So I really want my listing approach, my outreach approach, not to be necessarily about selling the listing. It needs to look that way, but I would say all of what I'm saying right now into Whisperflow,
Okay.
into ChatGPT. And then I would say, but what I really want is for it to create new listings. And what I'm kind of thinking the greatest outcome, I would say all this. And what I'm kind of thinking the greatest outcome would be is if I could have a list of like, there's probably 300,000 people who live in greater Albuquerque. And if there was a way for me to be able to get my hands on most of their email addresses or something like that, that I could actually find kind of a gamification way to be able to break through the noise and get in their inboxes without hitting a spam trap, that would be really superior. But I don't really know how to do that or how to build that. And so what I really need to do is to kind of back up a couple steps and say, I need to probably build a system that could, do you see what I'm doing? I'm
Yes.
just kind of like brain farting about this. But what's fascinating is if I get really big in my business, and the whole goal here, by the way, is just so I can make $1 million in gross after I've paid my taxes this year. But let's not worry about optimizing for taxes. Let's just assume like a third of whatever I make is going to go out to taxes. Okay. And so there you go. So I need to make 1.5 gross so I can keep $1 million. Now, I've started with this massive, this just like diarrhea of the mouth, terrible. Any, prompt expert out there who you pay $75 to go to the training, like they're going to tell you that's the worst prompt that's ever been written. ChatGPT is just going to come back and it's going to be like, listen, I've been thinking about this, really interesting, and let me help you. And that's a great idea. And I want to synergize this. And our first thing, and you're not going to read everything that it wrote back to you because you don't have your whole life to spend reading ChatGPT's responses. They're way too long. And just be like, okay, listen, I didn't read all of that, but give me the one next thing that we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Tell it you didn't read it. It doesn't matter.
I know.
I don't have time to read all that crap. I just need you to make some decisions with me, but I need them to know the next step. And by the way, we're going to use Claude as a research tool here in a minute, and maybe a production element tool. But I just want you to know that that's standing by. I also have Gemini and Grok or whatever you have, right? And so tell it who the players on the field are, and be like, but I need the one next step that we're going to do. Okay, here's the one next step. Fantastic. Who are we sending that to? We're going to send this one over to Claude. Great. Give me the prompt. There it is. Boom, cut, paste. If you're using Whisperflow, you don't even have to type any of this. Cut, paste, send. That was like 2 clicks, right? And a bunch of talking at the beginning. So far, now
Too
a
long.
10,000 word prompt has been sent over to Claude
Yeah.
to accomplish your goal. Now, what didn't I say? Well, I need a nice email that accomplishes these goals. And then I list out all of my goals. And what will happen is those become the guardrails. And what I don't realize is the guardrails that would have been possible were Christine makes $1 million this year versus the guardrails I inadvertently put in place, which unfortunately limit the outcomes, right?
Right.
AI will honor your guardrails. If you say only do this, it's like, okay, I mean, your loss, it's kind of like that. So try not to guardrail your AI as much as you can, but instead say, think resourcefully like a top 1% listing agent would. And in fact, if I'm asking the wrong question, tell me what the right damn question is.
Right.
I do that all the time, by the way. I say, challenge my thinking on this because I'm pretty sure whatever I'm thinking is really stupid. Why? Because I'm talking to something with an IQ that makes me look like an earthworm. That's why. So I'd rather just ask it what I should be thinking instead of telling it what to think like I'm the ego master of the universe. It's ego engineering versus true resourcefulness. True resourcefulness is asking the tool to do what it does best, which is actually to think. And people are like, it doesn't think as well. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it freaking does. And by the way, if it doesn't today, by the time you're watching this, if it's August 13th, yes, it does. So here's the thing. Yes, it does. We have to stop assuming that there's hard limits on this stuff because at some point you're going to be wrong. So it just doesn't matter. Start assuming it can do everything and it can do it all perfectly. Make that assumption. It's a better assumption because eventually you're going to be right, and probably in the next 6 months. And if it's not today, it will be soon. Yeah, read the final output, but you're not to a final output yet, right? So back to yours, Christine. What I think ChatGPT would help you to build if you just did the process that I just described is a hard-coded, fully automated email delivery system that stays under the 50 emails sent per day threshold. And it would start at the most expensive properties in your market. And it would send a cold outreach message, bespoke written to every single one of those owners with fully different writing in every single one of them, advertising your listing. Not sure if you're interested in downsizing or whatever, right? Because it knows they own a $10 million house and you're selling a $1 million house, but Doesn't matter. What it's doing is it's getting in front of them so that you can get more what? Listings, right? So it will understand what the objective is and optimize for the objective instead of you trying to think you're the best strategist in the room. You're not. And so this is what I'm trying to teach people is if you actually allow yourself to release a little bit and just be part of the team, you're part of the team. Look, it's always going to be your objective that's getting honored because AI doesn't care about bank accounts. So you're the only one that cares about how much money's in your bank account.
Right.
AI just cares that you got the $20 a month. Right? So this is where you can start to have it optimized for objectives, but think high level objectives and then have it maybe even challenge your objective because maybe you're thinking too small.
Right.
And this is where it can be an absolute game changer. And I'm talking to people right now. I am helping to coach some folks on this specific stuff right now who I love and care for, into how can you dynamically change your entire business universe and accomplish more than you ever thought possible by just thinking differently, levering these tools. If we think inside of a box, we stay inside of the box. If I set up the guardrails of the box, it will honor it so well, and you will be the king of your microscopic box. Or queen, in your case. All right, awesome. It's really good stuff, guys. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. I so appreciate it. I'm hoping you get a lot out of it. By the way, go take down the stuff that's in that book. Or, by the way, if I were you, I would upload that book into my ChatGPT and say, hey, what out of this do I need to know? And how can we use this together moving forward? And don't read it. Just let your AI read it for you. And then you don't have to take your time reading a 147 or 142 page book that I haven't even read. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to all of you soon. Love you. Bye.